Hey guys, Carl here, Cultivate with Carl, and today is Monday, and it is time for another Garden Journal update, and we are going to check on our progress while we're waiting for the sun to come up. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about feeding the plants, because today is Monday, and it's time to feed the plants. Primarily the potatoes, because the potatoes have hit their midlife, and haven't we all? Good Lord. Anyway, the potatoes are hit their midlife. This will be their last feeding before I let them coast into getting tubers. So we've already seen some flowers popping on the potatoes. That's a sign that the plants are getting ready to start producing the tubers. They're going to take all that energy they have in the leaves and they're going to push it down and start making us some good old potatoes. So what I've been feeding them with is some tomato and vegetable bubble from Dr. Joe. And it has a 14% nitrogen, a 14% phosphorus, and a 14% potassium, or 17% potassium. And this was because that potatoes are heavy feeders of nutrients. So while the plants are growing, you got to give them some stuff to live off of, in addition to what's in the soil. Now, this is kind of like an Alka-Seltzer. If you think about it, you just take one and you drop it in a gallon of water. It'll fizz up, turn the water red, and then you take it out there and pour it on your plants. Well, not on the plants, on the plant roots. I was also giving them some micronutrients, which only has 2 nitrogen, 0 phosphorus, and a 13 potassium. And these were recommended by Haas Tools in a certain feeding schedule. Today is the last day of that feeding schedule. And so we're going to feed the potatoes one more time. We have about 4 weeks to go and they should they should be ready to harvest. Now in the big bed, as you know, it's just one giant mashup of, I didn't know the plants were going to get that big. But over in the bags, we have the 3 different potatoes and I'll be able to move the dirt to the side and see which potato is which. And then they're going to come out in a certain order. In the big bed, I'm just going to leave them all until I pull them all at one time. But these came recommended pretty highly. Now, what I'm going to do for the other plants today is I'm going to be doing something a little bit different from them. This is Neptune's Harvest. It is a fish emulsion. And what you do is you dilute the fish emulsion in some water, and then you take it and you pour it right around the roots of the plants. Now, the good thing about fish emulsion, it only has a 2-4-2. So 2% nitrogen, 4% potassium, and phosphorus, and 2% potassium. And so it's not a very heavy feeder, but it gives plants that little oomph of what they need to get it to the next week. You know, there are nutrients in the soil, but we're just giving them a little something to snack on, hopefully, to keep them healthy. You'll see some of the plants are just getting into their groove. Some of them are really sprung, like good old Mr. Squash plant out there is going the extra mile. Potatoes going the extra mile. The cucumbers are going crazy. And that's all because we're feeding them the right stuff. We prepared the soil the right way. Hopefully, we can keep the bugs off. I have noticed some bugs in the area. Some aphid type bugs and some other stink bugs and stuff. It's kind of early for them. So I've been spraying the plants with neem oil in the late evening. That way we make sure the pollinators aren't around. We don't want to kill any bees by accident. I don't really have a lot of bees around. In fact, the squash plant has been getting pollinated by little sugar ants. So I'm okay with that. You know, sugar ants get in there, get them some pollen, roll around to the other flowers, get the flowers doing what they do, and then they head on back to the house with the pollen. Good for them. I appreciate their help. Because if not, I'd be out there with a little Q-tip or a toothbrush. I'd have to do it myself, spreading the love, as it were. So the last thing we have, and this was a gift from a friend, this is compost tea, specifically from a compost where earthworms are growing. So basically, an earthworm farm, they put water in the top, it filters through the compost and all the earthworm poop, and then they collect it at the bottom, and then they bottle it up. Well, this is good because worm castings are the best fertilizer you can get. It's not going to burn your plants. Very natural, very healthy for the plants. So I'm using these on the zucchinis, and how I'm going to do that is I'm not going to dilute that. I'm just going to pour a little at the base of each. And that would be it. So we're going to see how the zucchinis do compared to the other stuff that was fed by the fish emulsion. Very unscientific, but, you know, it's not a very scientific garden, if you haven't figured that out by now. And we're still learning. So, speaking of learning, all of the tomatoes in Tomato ICU have been rehomed. And they were put in the ground yesterday over at a friend's place. He's got a row garden, much bigger than mine, and he had room, so he put all the tomatoes in the beds. Said they're doing great. I had given some of the Tomato ICU plants to my brother-in-law. He put them in pots. He said they are doing outstanding. And just yesterday, I gave my neighbors over here and behind me, I both gave them a couple of tomatoes, and I have the rest here. These weren't necessarily Tomato ICU plants. These were the phase 2 of my how to learn how to plant from seedlings. So I've got a couple people at work that I'm going to give some to, and then I have some nice neighbors across the street. So that's part of the whole thing. You know, if you can help out other people, spread the love, maybe get them into it, you'll have something to talk to them about, and that's pretty cool. We also have 3 types of peppers that are growing. The original plan was just to get 1 or 2 pepper plants to fill the spaces in the beds. But I have 1, 2 spaces in the pepper beds, 1, 2, 3 spaces in the carrot beds. Then I have 2 pots that the pepper plants haven't sprouted yet when I try to direct sow them. So if they don't pop here before too long, I'm going to go ahead and take these guys and put them out there and get them growing. We are ahead of schedule. Like, my alarm went off on my watch and I looked at it just yesterday, and it said plants this weekend. So there's a wives' tale or Farmer's Almanac kind of thing where you don't plant before Good Friday. Good Friday is next Friday. I've already got plants in the ground. We started after the last frost date, and we're 3 weeks, a month ahead of schedule. So we're beating the bug pressure at this point. It looks like I'm going to get some squash right out the gate. And having talked to my friend who's got the bigger garden, he says that he's already getting ready, or he's already got squash on the plants. So our job now is to beat the beetles and the vine borers and score some squash, cucumbers, zucchini early. And then as it heats up, the bugs will come out, and then poof, that stuff will die off. Planting my second crops, we'll see what happens. But I got to mix this stuff up and go pour it in. Looks like the sun's coming up, so stand by. We'll do the garden tour, then we'll wrap this thing up. All right, guys, sun's up, so it's time to do the garden review. I've gotten a little watering done. First, I'm going to flip you around. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to check out the strawberries. Strawberries in the towers are doing good. I watered these guys last night, and it looks like we're starting to get some flowers, which means strawberries coming soon. These towers in the morning get sunlight on the backside. Then as the sun transitions through the day, it hits the side, and then finally in the evening, it comes in from this way. So that's pretty good. That way, I'm getting almost 360 all the time. So what I'm going to do, though, is move them out by the fence, and then out by the fence, they will get light all the way around the thing throughout the day. So let's start first with the carrot bed. I'm flipping your... All right, here we go. Carrot bed. Irrigation system's not quite hooked up yet. Got a few technical issues to work out. But the carrots are growing kind of uneven. I think that's probably because of watering problems. I don't know. But now they're getting big enough, I'm going to have to go and space them out. They will not grow, or they will grow that close together. You'll just get like small carrots. So we want to get some bigger ones. This is the, since this is our first time, we're trying to work that out. Okay, here's part of the problem I have with the irrigation system. There's the pepper bed. And you see how eagerly or aggressively that water's spreading out. The problem that I have is my pressure coming out of the house is at about 40 psi, and I only have one thing to step it down to 25 psi, one pressure regulator. So I have to find a pressure regulator to step it down, and I'm going to have to put one of those on each bed. And then I can step this down and it won't be so aggressive. Now I do have it turned up a little bit just to kind of show you for effect. I don't normally turn the water on that hard, so this is a little drama actually. So don't freak out, they're gonna be okay. It's supposed to be a really nice day today. Here's the potato bed. The potato beds have been fed and watered, and so they're looking good. Man, those plants are coming out everywhere. I think this is how they're supposed to be. I hope so. Right? So you can see I put some stakes in there to help give support in the middle. There are a lot of things I would do different on this bed, and we'll probably talk about that when I harvest. So here's the winter chicken dinner of the garden so far. The squash plant. I might name her Petunia or something like that. But you can see I got a big squash coming in there and another one coming in there. Thank you, ants. And I like the patterns on the leaves. That's pretty sexy. There's nothing wrong with those leaves. That's how they are. And so I have a couple more flowers forming, and you can see where a couple of the unpollinated flowers have fallen off. And that's because at the time that they bloomed, they were all male. Oh, so 3. 1, 2, 3 squash. Sweet. These wine bottles are my supplementary watering system. I do not drink that much wine. I have the neighborhood helping me out. These are summer crookneck squash. They really haven't caught on yet. So we'll give them a little feeding today. We'll see what happens. These are zucchinis, I believe, or squash, one of the two, and they are starting to pop. Now, if you remember, I said we're going down to survival of the fittest. What I would hope to do is that this bed would kind of hemisphere itself, and that plant would grow out that way, and this plant would grow out this way, or that plant would come around this way, because the sun. However, I may have to snip one of them, and we'll have to see. So, plant survivor, we'll have to see what happens. I was distracted by that plant right there. I don't know what that is, so I'll have to see if that's a volunteer plant or if it's another weed. These are zucchinis. You can see I got a little leaf burn when I did the foliar feed. When I sprayed the fertilizer onto the leaves, it got a little leaf burn on that one, but the rest of them are coming back. And look, check out this cool pattern that the dew makes on the leaf. So I took a picture last week, something like this, looked like a heart, and it says, "I do love gardening," but that's morning dew on the leaves. So that's pretty sexy. I think it's pretty cool. So over here, the tomatoes are popping. I've got these tomatoes, these Bonnie's Originals, they do not grow like in a straight line. So you have to be pretty aggressive on trellising them, because this one, where that one was, that plant branched and then grew in on itself, and I don't know what happened with that. So we'll have to see. You can see down there on those tomato plants I've got some yellowing on the bottom leaves. I don't know why. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but that whole plant looks like it's doing poorly. I got spots on the leaves and stuff. That sucker may have to come out. We'll have to see, but that's okay. I got a few more tomatoes up there I could put in its place. So more store-bought. This is one of mine. What is it? I have no idea. Because remember, I had the great name tag debacle. And then this one right here. Now this is a sucker. When I get out here to pruning, that's gonna have to go. So I'll get out here to prune. But see, like these plants are growing all wackadoo, growing all over. And I got to get the trellis strings a little bit more tight and pull them up a little bit. Wednesday, when I'm off, is actually I'm going to come out here and do a bunch of maintenance. So Wednesday will be much better. And here they are from this side. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these. So, and anyway, the whole bottom branches of all these are going to get trimmed off anyway. So as you prune up, and as long as the tops are doing good, we should be okay. Over here, the snails are eating the crap out of my lettuce. But if you notice, it's only the lettuce pieces that are closest to the ground. And they're little teeny weeny, you might be able to see some there. Teeny weeny little snails. But the heads are starting to form. And inside it should be okay. So here we've got cucumbers going crazy. Cucumbers going wild. So we'll get those to encourage them to climb up the trellis. This one's done wrapped himself around. This one's going up the middle. This one's doing pretty good. So cucumbers looking good. The Roma tomatoes looking good. So they should be doing well. These are determinates, so we're not going to trim them at all. We're just going to let them grow. These are some more salad slicer cucumbers. I'm about to have to come in and put some more Florida weave trellis. And I would say these straight 8s really haven't caught on yet. That one has. But this 1, 2, 3 straight 8s, they're not doing so aggressive. So we'll have to see. You know, like I said, but it's still early. It's just warming up. So over here, we have these 2 are pepper plants that haven't sprouted yet. Tomato of unknown origin, tomato of unknown origin. These are 4 Hossinator tomatoes I planted from seed on the 1st of April. So they've sprouted. The strongest one's going to survive. I don't have any other pots, but we're going to see what happens. This guy is a sun gold tomato. Should be a indeterminate cherry type tomato, and we're going to trellis that up to the fence. I'm going to put some spikes out here, and then we're going to tie some string off to it. Tomato of unknown origin, tomato of unknown origin, potato, potato, potato. 3 different varieties. Now, ta-da! The mystery is solved. There was a pack of free seeds from the electric company, and I kind of, now that I see the nice flowers, remember taking them 3 seeds and putting 1 in each hole. I had some extra space, and I put 1 seed in each, and they all sprouted. So we have flowers, which is great for bringing in the pollinators. So that's about it. My phone battery's about to die. We're at 8 minutes compared to whatever we had with the other one, or combined with whatever we had with the other one. This Wednesday, I'll be doing a lot of yard work. The good news is that I am moving to day shift. That means I'm going to be a day walker. I'm going to be a normal human being, sleep at night, be up all day. What's great is that I work on the Panama schedule. I'm off 14 days out of the month. So when I wake up, I can actually, on my days off, even if I sleep in late, I mean, sleeping in late for me would be 7 o'clock, get up. I have the whole day ahead of me to get this garden into shape. And so I'm going to bring you with me on the tour. I'm going to bring you with me on the building. We're going to do some videos about the mistakes I've made, because I've made some mistakes. And we're going to talk about those. But everything is going okay. Gardens are pretty forgiving. You can make a few mistakes and still be all right. I'm still going to have tomatoes, even though these 1 plants are growing weird. I don't know why they're growing weird. I don't remember putting any cow manure in that bed. But if I did, if it was a herbicide problem, I think the leaves would be curled, which they're not. And all the other tomatoes would be dying, and they're not. So, I don't know. We'll see. The potted plants look like they're doing well. And so I'm excited. So that'll be it. So I think I'm running out of stuff to talk about. We've seen the whole garden. The dogs are on sentry duty against the squirrels. The squirrels are outsmarting the dogs. That's about how it works. So until next week, I'm signing off here from Cultivate with Carl. And from one friend to another, guys, make sure that you got yourself a hobby. Make sure you got some way of relieving stress. Stress is a killer. And you have to do stuff with other people. I talk gardening at work with people all the time. I get on the internet. I talk to people about gardening all the time. And I interact with people and have fun with my other hobbies and this hobby. You need people interaction. You need stress relievers. And I'm here as your friend telling you, get a hobby. And then put it on YouTube. Or send me emails and tell me what you're doing. Because I'm interested in what you got going on. Just like Gunner. Hang on, here's Gunner. There's Gunner. And if I keep saying Gunner long enough, Ruby will come running. So your gratuitous puppy shot. Ruby. Rubus. Ruby Tuesday. She's not. Oh, there she comes. Come here, Ruby Tuesday. There you go. Gratuitous puppy shots. Woo! All channels need puppies. Woo! Okay. All right, guys. So, and you need puppies. You need a hobby and you need puppies. So signing off from Cultivate with Carl. It's Carl here. We'll see you next week.